I think we're live. Boom! There's some music. Welcome, welcome, one and all, to, well, it's sort of the MIRTH QUAKE web show, and we're sort of co-streaming. This is going to be a fun one. I am out here to help you as creators to get yourself out there, connect with fans, friends, and peers, showcase your work, showcase your talent, showcase your passions, and all that stuff. So please, during this stream, which is being broadcast on many channels, I want to make sure that you're active, be live, be in the chat, have some fun with me and my very, very special co-streamer. The beast himself is here, folks. The bearded book beast. And Chris, thank you, man. This was fun to set up, and I can't wait for the next however long we're hanging out here.
Oh, heck yeah, man. Same thing. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. This is awesome.
Absolutely. This is awesome. And we already got some stuff going on in here. If your audio is kind of quiet, turn up your volume, because all my levels are good here. I'm not sure what you guys got going on, but I think we're all right. And welcome, folks. Welcome to this co-stream. We are going to have some fun. Actually, I'm gonna stack this like this. It's better.
Yeah, there we go.
And if you haven't been here before, if you don't know who I am, hi, I'm David. Welcome. And I do stuff, I write stuff, and I run this show. If you have been here before, like Logan, like Jeremy, and Jax, you're there too. Just keeping an eye on the whole thing. My audio is quiet. It doesn't sound quiet to me. It sounds loud as hell to me. So there's that. Hopefully that's a little better. I'll just go closer to the microphone and call it good. So Sledge, Nick, you're here as well, man. Welcome.
What's up?
Yep. And I'll check. I'm going to double check. Maybe that'll be a little bit better for us. There we go. Okay. So anyway, we connected a while ago and just kind of talked back and forth on some stuff. And then I'm like, I'm really curious to just talk to you, dig into your head a little bit, see, and just have a good conversation. We both love storytelling. We both love writing. We both love creativity. Like, this is just a natural, like, let's hang out, and we're all good, man. And we got a lot of friends here. Grimfell hanging out, man. Hey, how's it going? All right. So hopefully my audio is a little bit better here. I just adjusted a level on it.
Oh yeah,
that is better.
That's
okay,
better. Yeah,
perfect. Love it. So the first thing I want to do is, I mean, there's a couple of first things I want to do. I'm just gonna say that. But like, I'm gonna direct, and we're just gonna kind of share some back and forth, tell some stories, all that kind of stuff. And evening, Tim. Tim the flamethrower is here.
Oh man.
Hail, John. It's nice to see you here, man. Welcome.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Tim, I'm like, Tim he stirs the pot online, and I love it.
He does. He loves it.
I sent him a picture. I had Grok do up a picture of him with a flamethrower today, and it was pretty awesome. Just like sitting there, like setting books on fire, and he's got his hat and the whole thing.
I gotta go find that.
It's good stuff. I'll send it to you. So anyway, what I want to do first, before we do anything, is just take a little bit of that time for the people who typically watch me. I think everybody like knows both of us at this point, but I'm going to give you floor is yours, right? Because content is evergreen. Somebody may be coming across this in a year. We're going to have to apologize ahead of time. And so just take some time, and who are you and what do you do, and like all that kind of stuff, right? So go for it.
All right. Well, there's only one way to do this. I got to do it my way. So I'm going to say, what's up, Quakies and Beasties? I'm Chris, better known as your friendly neighborhood bearded book beast. Welcome to this co-stream. I have a little Booktube channel. I like to do reviews. Actually, I don't do a lot of reviews. That's a lie. I want to do more reviews this year, but I talk about books, mostly fantasy and sci-fi, but some other things as well. I love indie books also, and I like to write. So I'm trying to write my own book and just like to hang out and have fun. And we've met so many awesome people in this community. I love being a part of it. So I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers. Almost there, nice. Which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
So
the YouTube gods favor thee. I like it.
I don't know about that, but hopefully.
I know, right?
But yeah, I mean, I started. It's been about a little over 6 months, and I thought I wouldn't get 100 subscribers. So it's been a pretty awesome ride.
Yep, absolutely. And man, let me tell you, it goes up and down.
Oh yeah.
There's you really just have to kind of ride the wave when you can.
Yep.
I'm sitting on like 18,000 subs, but the thing is,
Yeah.
nobody knows I'm here because my channel was dead for a while.
Right.
So this is sort of like, you know, trying to resurrect it, get back into the game for all this kind of stuff because I love creating the content. In particular, love bringing on authors and all that kind of stuff. Just to get everybody platforms because a lot of them are just really terrible at it. And
Right.
so why not, you know, use my powers and my skills to just help others, you know, get their words out there and you know, have people get to know them. And that's one of my goals for right now, because we spend a lot of time, authors in particular spend a lot of time just kind of going on and on about their stories, their worlds, and their books.
Yep.
And I really feel like the right way to get yourself out there to start marketing is to make sure people know you as a person.
Right.
You know, because if somebody talks at me about their world building, okay, like great, I generally don't care. But if I get to know somebody, I don't care what they write. I want to support it.
Right.
You know, and I'll probably love what it is because I'll probably enjoy the conversation. So like
Right.
you end up finding a way, you know, with that. So that's the whole purpose of Mirth Quake on here. For those of you who don't know me as well. So pretty please, during this whole thing, jump over to the Beast channel, subscribe and all that kind of stuff. Head over to mine if you're not there, subscribe and all that kind of stuff. We're all in the same boat, man. We're all trying to help each other out and just make sure the words are seen. The world needs to see them, you know. So I want to ask you a couple things, and the first thing I'm going to ask you is something that I ask all of my guests. So for right now, you're in guest mode, and I'm going to ask you just a preference. I need to know what team you're on. I don't know if you know what's coming.
I
No,
should.
Okay, good. No, it's perfect. No,
But-
I'd rather you don't. Okay, no, this is great. Because like everybody knows what I'm about to ask if they've seen me before. Because
Yeah.
it's something I ask everybody first. And I say, if you were forced to travel in a homemade hot air balloon way up in the sky, right? No parachute. Here we go. See, he's waiting for it. Or a janky submarine
Oh.
way down below, which one would you choose?
Oh man, this is a terrible question.
No, this is the most important question. He's not
Nice. Oh man. Oh, okay. Well, let me walk you through my thought process.
wrong.
So
Oh, no.
I'm scared of heights. So
Okay.
that already right away made me think, oh, I don't want to do that. But then when you talk about the submarine, I mean, we all know what happened recently with the whole.
Okay, I mean, to be
Stuff.
fair, they didn't charge their PlayStation controller, but like, okay.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Oh man. Well, okay. Well, you said janky though.
It is janky.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's risk. There's risk on both.
Okay, I feel like. All right, I'm gonna have to say the hot air balloon though. I'm sorry,
It's
man.
Okay.
Hey,
It's okay.
if I fall out of that hot air balloon, there's a chance. There's a chance I could hit the ground and not splatter. If that submarine breaks, it's over, man.
Nick is so funny, man, because he was absolutely no one was part of
Yes,
that
thank
janky
you, Nick.
sub. Listen, I'm just saying, if like it's over in 5 milliseconds in the sub, right? Faster than you can
Yeah.
comprehend. So just you lights out, right? But the whole balloon thing, I'm just like seeing the ground come at me, you know, like I don't like I'm really just I can't, you know.
You
It's
got
just,
a chance though,
look,
man.
right now, the only people in the sub are like me and Grimfell. Like we're it, you know. Like there might
Grimfell
be
picked
one.
the sub.
He did pick this up.
Come
There might
on,
be one other
Grimfell.
person. No, he was all right with that. It was good. He just thinks that we should have a different controller or something.
Yeah,
you know, that's okay.
you'd have to make some changes.
you'd have to be a shifty billionaire to be in the sub. If you had to fight another booktuber in a no holds barred cage match, who would you fight, and do you think you could win? Oh man, that's a good one.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not sure. I guess Like I'm up for anybody, man. I spent a long time in combat sports, so like I'm
Oh
good.
man,
So like I'm all
I'm
right.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. So I grew up watching a lot of WWE. So I would just be like, I'd make friends with them, and we'd become like a tag team and go on a run. That's what we
That's right.
do.
Yeah, me and my 4 horsemen are coming for you.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. So I've got a beverage this evening in your honor. Showed you earlier, but
Mm-hmm.
I've got Santa's
Lucky
cookies.
dog.
Yeah, Santa's milk and all that kind of
That looks
stuff.
good.
And I actually have I have a mug that is suitable for Sledge. Check this one out,
Ooh,
buddy.
that is sweet.
Yeah, look at that. Like they can do amazing things with resin. Let's give this thing a taste, huh? Mm-hmm.
That is pretty sick.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. Cookies and milk. I'm gonna start leaving beer for Santa.
Yeah, I think you're onto it.
That's all right. All right, so I don't even know like where we're going with this conversation or what's going on. Like I really enjoy digging into creative process stuff. So if you want to talk a little bit about that, like we can dig into that a little bit first.
Yeah.
I definitely, folks, you're gonna dig this one, and I know some of you saw it, but we are definitely going to be doing the sidekicks versus henchmen throwdown in a little
Oh
bit.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna reveal some, and I've got some choices in there, man, that are really gonna get you thinking. So we're gonna have a good time with that. Maybe we'll do some pitch storm later. Who knows? I just want to have a great time with you. But let me ask you first, right? Let's go on and do some creativity questions, because I am really curious about you and yours in terms of both streaming, creating content, because you get great intros on your videos. You got the good cuts. Like your editing skills are on point, man.
All right. All right.
I love to see it, right? Because that's how I like to do it too. But in terms of that, or in terms of writing and getting your own creativity, excuse me, out there, it's the beer. When I say the words creative process, what does that actually like? What does that look like for you?
For me, oh man. Well, so for me, I do a lot of. It starts with a lot of old school stuff for me. Because I work full time. I'm married. I have 4 kids. Life is kind of crazy busy. It's hard for me to have like a set routine. It's really like I want to make sure I write and I'm in this world, either creating some content or editing something, reading on the socials, talking to people at some point every day, but it looks different every day. But I have like a notebook I keep in my bedside table. And if I think of a cool video idea or I think of something I want to write down later, I just jot it down in there,
Nice. Yep.
Or I use my phone and my notes and I'll put stuff in there. So for me, it's just it's a little bit crazy.
It's just whenever
I can find time. A lot of times it's after the kids and my wife are in bed, and then I stay up way too late because I'm a night owl. And I just do it then, But I try to do something every day for all of this. And that's kind of my creative process, is always thinking about it and jotting things down, but actively doing it at some point every day, even if it's just a little bit.
Right.
That's kind of what I do.
No, that makes a lot of sense, man, because sometimes like life gets in the way. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
So you find the time and you work around it. I don't know about you. I devote like a not so insignificant amount of time to things like this show, to the posts, to designing stuff, creating things, whether it's like just graphically, videos, whatever. It does like it takes up some time, but for me, I really enjoy that part of it.
Me too.
Because it's just really creative. Like, especially like even just doing a thumbnail, right? Like I had a blast doing ours with the half.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, this is just like, it's just kind of fun.
Yeah.
And doing it for a reason. And we have another beard. There's like beard now. Well, we need a bunch. We need 6 more, and we could be the beard bunch.
Bearding out.
The bearded bunch. Bearding out. That's right. Yeah, slowly a community of excellent beards and flat.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of those. So yeah, and so you said you're a night owl creator.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Have you always been that way? Is that like?
Oh yeah, I've always been a night owl. I think. I mean, ever since I was young, I would always stay up late, like past my bedtime. My mom would say I had to be to bed at I actually remember, this dates me probably a little bit, but I used to have to go to bed at 9, but I would talk my mom into staying up a little bit later sometimes, and I would stay up and watch like, because I think it came on Sunday nights. It was always a school night, but I would watch Doogie Howser. Do you remember Doogie
Oh,
Howser?
MD, of course, Neil Patrick Harris.
And
Yeah.
then when it went off, sometimes I would be sneaky and she'd go to bed, and then I would, get the flashlight out and read, or
Yep.
or I'd go play some video games. But then if I stayed up too long with the TV on, Tales from the Crypt would come on.
Oh,
and
nice.
I would try to get up and run and turn it off quick, because that part where the skeleton dude hops up and he's like, oh, and it would always be right when I'm getting ready to turn it off, and I'm like, oh, because oh man, I was always a big chicken at night. I had some night terrors and stuff, man. But yeah, so from a young age.
Have you seen the movies or no?
I remember the show. I guess I haven't seen the movies.
The second one, the second one was like one of my favorite. It was just like the shorts kind of.
Oh yeah,
and all that, and they had. I mean, like they're ridiculous.
Oh, they're over the top. Yeah,
like it's really really ridiculous, but like they were kind of awesome in that sort of like
fun.
Just super campy.
Yeah,
like, look, I just really love that stuff. Obviously, so like I'm totally into that. No, that's pretty cool. Like it. So you get it done and all that. Now, how do you fit like writing time? How does that work? Because you've got a lot going on. There's real life going on, pockets of this, that, and the other. So like sitting down, being like, oh, I got 3 hours to put words. Like, that's not really a thing.
Right.
So what do you do?
I guess it just depends on the day. So if I'm in like a spot where I have some videos, some content done and ready to go, and I don't need something for the next day, maybe I'll just edit a little bit or mess with it, and then I'll just write a lot. But then like another day, if I have like, oh man, I haven't recorded a video, I need to put it out tomorrow, I might just do that all and then just write a little. So it just depends. It kind of ebbs and flows, but I usually do both in that whole stretch. But then, like you said, I mean, throughout the whole day, I'm on the socials doing stuff, or doing a little bit of editing here and there. But where I'm really focused, I kind of do it back to back, writing and working on this stuff.
Nice. Oh no, that's good. And look, man, you read a lot. You're
not as much as I used to.
Your nose has to always be in a book. Because you're like, this week I'm going through the, and like,
I know.
I'm like, holy moly, dude! Like,
well, I read too many things at a time, so then it takes me all month to finish all the books, because I'm like hopping back and forth, and I usually have like an audiobook I'm listening to when I can't sit down and read physically, or I have an ebook I'm reading if I'm out and about and at an appointment or something, and I can't have a physical book.
Right.
So I've just got so many different things going. But
what's your hierarchy of what you enjoy consuming?
The reading experience?
Is it physical audio ebook, or is it physical ebook audio?
Physical ebook audio. Like I like to read with my eyes the most, because I get a little, like, I'm pretty chill and laid back, but I get almost like a little ADHD when I'm trying to listen to an audiobook. I start thinking about other things, or I start doing something else. Like the only time it works is if I'm driving, so like a far drive, and I can't do anything else, so I'll just listen.
Right.
Or if I'm like, riding on the lawnmower, cutting the grass, or doing chores around the house. But even then I start thinking about, oh, I got that video I got to make, or what am I going to write in my book? Oh, that made me think of my story, and I missed parts, and I got to go back. So like, I love the idea of audio, but a lot of times it doesn't work for me. But I try to do it still, because it does help you get through more books, if you can do it.
Yeah, I love recording audiobook, but like consuming audiobook, it's the same thing. It's very difficult hard for me.
Yeah.
I'm more of a, if I'm going to listen to something, I enjoy listening to podcasts, because like if my brain goes out and back in,
right, it's really okay.
That much, right?
Yeah.
And I get to like, I'll learn something like podcasts and stuff like that about like, space and black holes and all this kind of stuff. It just engages the brain.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So like I love learning that kind of stuff. Molly made it.
Molly, what are you doing in here?
Woohoo! All right. Yeah.
You're supposed to be enjoying a kids-free night.
I know, you're kids-free with it. Just don't hang out here. Like, come on, man. That's good. I'm glad you're here.
We're glad you're here. Yeah.
Absolutely. And just as that reminder, again, people, please, if you're here on my channel, make sure you're subscribed. You're subscribed to Chris over there, because we got the same kind of vibe, man. We got the same attitude towards this stuff, and we really are just trying to help people out there. So So yeah, that's pretty good. And is there anything like for you that just creatively that tends to stunt your creativity, or is it just like is that just life getting in the way sometimes?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, my wife and my kids tend to stunt
Of
my
course.
creativity, but not really. They actually add to it. You know, life
Yeah.
experience makes you more creative, but
Yes.
um, not really. I guess like um, I would say before maybe I let that get in the things get in the way a lot more, but now that ever since I found BookTube, got back into reading and
Hmm.
found this community and got really on fire for this and for writing again, like it just feels like nothing can. You know, I'm just pumped all the time to do it all.
Yep.
So I think maybe just life getting in the way it can get me down because if it's busy for a long stretch, then I'll
Right.
feel like, oh man, I haven't written much. Like, you know, I didn't hit this goal I set, you know, stuff like that can get me down, but
Right.
just keep chugging along. You know, the
Yeah.
next week will be better, hopefully.
Jesse, welcome. Missed the damn notification. That's okay. Just to let you know, Jesse, he's team hot air balloon, and I'm a little disappointed, but it's okay. It's all right. It's just like it has become the running gag.
Uh,
That I'm just like it really is just me and Grimfell and stuff. You know what? We're fine. It's just that those few moments of terror when everything goes dark and it goes upside down, like that won't be great, but otherwise we're okay. Um, no, that's really awesome, man. And let me ask you, do you have a favorite in terms of, because I do want to ask you a little bit about just being a booktuber, right?
mhm,
In the way that you do it. I don't really consider myself
right,
booktuber so much because like I just like to explore. I like to explore the
right.
authors,
Mhm.
and not necessarily all about that in the works. But do you have a particular genre that's like just that's the one, like that's the one that you'll read over all others?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's probably fantasy, yeah.
Fantasy.
But I mean, it's a close tie between like fantasy and um, like space opera, sci-fi, like sci-fi fantasy and
Yep.
urban fantasy, but fantasy in general, yeah, that's like
Yep.
I'm like it's like what I'm drawn to the most for sure.
And we've got a bunch of authors in the chat at this point. So let me ask you this, and I
Mhm.
think this is good just for anybody who's rewatching the stream as well. Um, so just in the terms of being an author out there, and your platform of choice is typically Twitter, right? You're at most active there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on. I think I comment and stuff the most on Twitter. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
on. I'm on Instagram and TikTok and Blue Sky and all that, but I post a lot on those things and I comment some, but mostly, yeah, I'm most active on Twitter. Yeah,
Yeah, Twitter seems to be just very interactive that way,
yeah,
so like
yeah.
it suits it.
Hmm.
But if let's say there's an author out there
Hmm.
who maybe has a book, their social media game not all that strong.
Yeah,
um so how do they get the attention of a booktuber?
that's a good question. I think a lot of times it's. I mean, for me, if they post, even if they have a sick looking cover, like that'll catch my eye, and then
Yep.
I'll look into it a little more. Or if a lot of times I've seen. I mean, sometimes they just reach out to me. Like I've got they'll DM me on X or send me an
Mhm.
email from the email I have posted on all my stuff, and they'll just say, "Hey, are you interested in learning more about my book?" And like, I'd love to talk to people, so I'm always down to chat
Nice. Yep.
and learn about their books. So I mean, sometimes if authors just reach out, it works, but that doesn't always work with
Right.
some booktubers, of course. But yeah, I think just posting about your book, like sometimes that can catch my attention. But like what your big thing is, a lot of times what draws me to it is if I if I see them posting just about themselves and I get to know them and I think, oh man, they're
Right.
awesome. They're
Yep.
so cool. Oh, they wrote a book. Well, I'm checking that out, you know?
Right.
So
Right.
I think that's probably the biggest thing is getting noticed is a lot easier if you're just getting noticed in general, you know?
Mm. Yeah. No, actually, that's kind of funny. You just follow a lot of the badasses in the chat, and one thing leads to another.
Boom.
I mean, look, this is really cool because you have a circle and a little community. I've got a
Mhm.
circle and a little community, but this is the whole goal, man. Is to
Right.
just get that expanded because trad publishing is what it is.
Hmm.
The gatekeepers are what they
Yeah.
are,
Right.
and more. We've got all the Iron Age, like we've got the Iron Age vibe going out. All the indies, self-publish, and everything else, and
Hmm.
people are realizing, you know what, like maybe the gatekeepers aren't suiting me. Maybe it is time to expand out, and it's pretty easy. Like you just go on, you comment on other people's stuff, you
Hmm.
just get to know them a little bit and all that kind of stuff. You know, and you may agree or disagree with some of the things that they post. But you know, trying to have that understanding that we're all artists
Right.
in some way or another. And so, you know, I tell people all the time, success is not a zero sum game. Just because there's an author out there that's very successful, that
Hmm.
doesn't, it's not taking readers away from me. It
Right.
just means that I don't have that reach as of yet. You know, and it's really important to understand that there is literally no competitors in this.
Yeah.
Nobody's a competitor.
Right.
You know, so like if you and I stream at the same time and somebody's watching one of yours, like watch mine later. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't even matter, you know, like
Right. Oh
obviously
yeah. Yeah.
like all that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
so being together like that, I just think it's really, really critical, you know, and especially to get that support and amplification, you know, because I mean, a lot of the people here that I've talked to and everything, you know, if they're coming out with new work or anything, I tell them like, you like reach out to me,
Oh yeah.
let me know. I want to
Same.
amplify it.
Yep.
You know, I want to help you,
Yep.
you know, the best I can, because not everybody's going to have like weird colored lights and fancy equipment and all this kind of
Right.
nonsense
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
that's part of it. Let me ask you this: have you come across the like the bad comments on YouTube on your stuff or no?
Oh yeah, I've had some. Not
Have
a
you?
ton, but
Yeah.
I've had some like early on. I did a video where I did like an unhaul or something, and I was talking about each book when I'd hold it up, like, oh, I'm getting rid of this because of this, or like, and I talked about where I got it from
Right.
and stuff. And I guess I talked about each book too long for this person because
Of course.
they were like, "You seem like a nice guy, but geez, we don't need to hear about every book. Just show it, and we'll look it up on our own." And I'm like, "Well, I put chapters." I was super nice in the comments. I'm like, "I put chapters in. You can bounce around. You don't have to listen to everything I say." And then they said
Right.
something else, and I'm like, "Hey, if you want to go elsewhere, go elsewhere. I don't want you to be bored. Have fun. Like, don't
Yeah.
watch my videos." And they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was just having a bad day." So I mean, in the end, I won them over, but
Yeah.
yeah, I've had that. And I've had a couple on shorts that I tried to do like funny stuff, not strictly to books, so it went out to more people.
Right.
And there was one where I was camping with my son, and I jumped up. He could jump up and touch the rim. I jumped up and just barely swatted the bottom of the net. So he recorded it, and I made a short that said like, "So you think white middle-aged men can't jump?" And then I did it. I'm like, "Take that!" And of course, somebody commented, and they're like, "Oh, get off YouTube, old man," or something like that, you know.
That's all right.
But
That's not
nothing
even a
nothing
bad
crazy,
comment.
you know.
Yeah, that's not
Nothing too
even
bad
bad.
yet, but
No,
that's how
I've
you know
had.
you made it, right? If you start getting a lot of bad
Hey,
stuff.
look, I've had some doozies, man, and
I
you
bet.
know because
With
like I
that many
started.
subscribers, yeah.
Well, yeah, I started because when I started the channel before, it wasn't there was a little bit of a writing focus, but I was mostly
Yeah.
talking psychology.
Yeah.
You
I've
know,
looked at some of your
and
old stuff. It was good, man.
it's all that mindset stuff and all that. I appreciate
Mhm.
it. But you know that drags out some people that are really opinionated
Oh,
about
yeah.
things, and like I had somebody, you know, because like I'm not like, and I'm not shy about it. Actually, I'm really excited because I'm about to have a new like a new terrarium here
Yeah.
for my one of my the snakes that I've had the longest. I have a bunch of snakes, right?
Yeah.
We love snakes as pets. They're wonderful. They're adorable. They're super easy, low maintenance. You're not allergic to them. They don't fur. They don't like, you know, there's nothing like that.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm really into them, always have been. And so
Mhm.
my ball python, her name is Penelope von Squigglebottom, Princess of Noodleham. We call her Penny.
Yeah,
She's going to be
yeah.
joining me back here really
Okay,
soon. I got like a
okay.
really nice, you know, thing. So anyway, I had her on one of the videos that I did a while ago, and this dude gets on and he's like, "That's a snake. I'd kill it." I'm like, "You bastard!" Like
Don't talk about my penny like
that's
that.
Penelope von Squigglebottom you're talking to right now. Like, you better watch it, man. And this dude just like kept going on about it.
What the heck?
I have a folder where I just kept all of like the just
Oh, yeah.
nasty like
You
trash
gotta
comments.
remember it.
Yeah, because like then you just put them up, you react to them, and you kind of monetize the
Yeah.
haters, which is like a, you know, it's a good thing to do. Yeah, cold blood pets for the win, right?
Heck yeah.
Like,
There you
yeah,
go.
no, it's fine. I mean, like I have two cats, like I love the cats for sure. Um, but like the cats, they're way more violent than the snakes have ever
Yeah,
been.
cats are
My
something
gosh,
else.
when it's feeding time, I was getting attacked by Jackie's cat Crasher Pants over there, and
Oh gosh.
when it was feeding time, he gets like really, he just like goes after your feet and all that. He gets very very excited about that. I mean, he probably gets
Oh
more
yeah.
than me. So there's that. But I want to make sure I'm giving you time too. Just anything that's on your mind that you want to
Yeah.
broach as a topic or whatever else, man. Like, let's go.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
let's talk
Yeah,
about whatever.
so eventually I want to talk about your book because I have a lot
Okay.
of awesome things to say about that. But first I want to go back and I want to ask you some of the same stuff. So creative process for you. I'm curious how that all works out for you. What do you do?
Creative process for me, yeah, it usually starts with something that's well, it usually starts with some kind of a scenario.
Mhm.
So for me, I'm like, you know what would be cool? This.
Yeah.
And I just kind of branch out. Okay, so like if I'm thinking this, then what would be cool like from there? I'm actually I'll use the debut, right? I'll use
Oh.
Caretaker as an example, okay?
Mhm.
Because this entire book exists from a stupid writing prompt on a card in a little card deck. I still have it. It's over there.
Oh, that's awesome.
The deck is called the So deck, SO dot dot
Okay.
dot, right? And it just has questions in it. So it'll say like, so like, when was the last time you had a terrible day? Or
Mhm.
so when was the last time you had a wonderful time talking to somebody? Things like that. And it's
Yeah.
just like a conversation thing, or you just put it down, you write a little bit, like journal on it or whatever else.
Uh-huh.
And so I pulled out this card and I'll have to step back just like a hair, right?
Okay.
I was writing something totally different at the time. I was working on a different book that is still unfinished.
Okay.
Might be like wherever. You can get your hands on Caretaker. It's on Amazon. It's there. If you follow me on Amazon, or if you go to just like hit like, you'll see all the stuff. Joy-Jitsu included, right? So so anyway, I was sitting there writing one day in a coffee shop. I'm a coffee shop writer. I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. I want to be a
Noise
coffee shop writer.
noise canceling headphones,
Mhm.
just the laptop and nothing else. And I really enjoy watching the world go by. That's
Yeah.
just, you
Yep.
know, and a
That's
nice
awesome.
nice cup of something or whatever
Yep.
else, because I spend a lot of time when I'm writing doing this. You know, like I'm not okay, sure.
Yeah.
And just having some of that, it's not a distraction for me. It's just like it's just life. Like you see people
Mhm.
interacting, like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff inspires me. So anyway, I was sitting there writing, and there were three ladies sitting next to me, and they were talking about writing and
Mhm.
stuff. And I'm like,
They were talking about writing while
Oh my
you were
God.
trying to write?
yeah. And I'm like, are you a writing group? Like, is that what's going on here?
Yeah.
Because like I'm always like just solo. And sure enough, they were like, yeah. And I was like, oh, well, I'm writing a book right now, so like let's chat. You know, like,
Yeah.
whatever. Like I got a couple minutes. I'm gonna have my little sandwich and whatever else. And turns out like every Saturday or every other Saturday, they were there. I was there every Saturday morning, and we just like I just kind of joined in for the conversation for a little bit, and we decided to just try writing prompt together. Everybody was in a different like state of where they were in their writing journey, and not quite as far along as I was, but like working on things. And so I was like, hey, like, you know, it just came out after like a few weeks of, you know, start to get to know them and all that kind of stuff. I was like, hey, you know, do you want to do like writing prompts? And they were like, yeah, sure, like whatever. And I'm like, look, I got all these, I collect decks of cards that have prompts and questions because I just
Yeah.
really enjoy that.
Yeah.
So I randomly pulled one out, and the card said, so what is the oldest item you own? And I was like, all right, like, let's write 500 words.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing crazy.
Uh-huh.
Think about it for a week, and we'll meet up in a week. And so I sat there, and I'm like, oldest item I own. Okay. Probably it was a ring that my grandfather had,
Okay.
that had his name on it, and the name was Miro, Miro, short for Vladimiro, which is the name of my oldest son. So, and he was inheriting that ring. And I'm like, you know, that's cool, but what would one of the oldest items in the universe look like? And then I started like,
Okay.
I'm like, all right, like that's interesting. And I thought to myself, you know, the oldest item in the universe, it really wouldn't be like a physical thing, but if it
Yeah.
was, it would have to represent something. And so I thought of a knife, and I'm like, if there was a blade that represented death herself, like just death incarnate was
Yeah.
an inanimate blade, then this book happened, right? So I got to thinking of that, and I'm like, well, why would somebody have it on Earth? Like, what would that
Yeah.
person look like? You know, maybe he's taking care of it. Well, caretaker. Okay, like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, and so, and what would that do to him if he's here ushering this entity through life as we know it in just like our normal world? So it's urban fantasy,
Yeah.
you know, and everything. So creative process for me is just like that, picking something out, a little bit of a build, a little bit of a build. So I wrote 500 words on it and I read it out loud to them the next week. And
Yeah.
they were like, where's the rest of the story? And I was like, well, I guess I got to write it now. I
Yeah.
dropped everything I was doing and that book came out.
Wow.
When that book was 5,000 words in, my older brother passed away suddenly
Oh.
and completely and totally changed the trajectory of the book,
Yeah.
but for the better. I worked a lot of things out in that book personally, and so there's a lot of love and loss and grief and death and all those different things, but in that supernatural urban fantasy sort of setting. And
Yeah.
so, you know, creative process for me is, part of it is that physical, ritualistic, charge the laptop, charge the headphones, have my playlist ready to go,
Hmm.
go to the coffee shop. I'm an early guy, so like I like to be there
Okay.
at like 7,
Oh, wow.
you know,
Okay.
if I can, you know, flip it open and reread something I wrote, do a little bit more, you know, and then just kind of get into the headspace with the music going and put down whatever I want to put down and all of
Hmm.
that. I'm not an outliner. I'm a plantser.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, so I don't really plot. I'll pants it a little
Yep.
bit. I describe it to people of just like walking around with a flashlight. Like you can see kind of what's up ahead. You know,
Yep.
there's a
Yep.
turn,
Yep.
but like you're not really sure what's beyond
Right.
that.
Yep. Yep.
So, and
I'm the same way. Yep.
I structure it that way. So like I'll plan it. If I'm writing chapter 4, I've got a good idea of what chapter 5 is going to look like.
Hmm.
I have a decent idea of what chapter 6 is going to look like. I just need to make sure, and I write a couple paragraphs. This chapter should start with this event and should end with this one,
Right. Yep.
right? And then the
Yep.
next one, it should start here, it should end here.
Yep.
Chapter 7, 8, 9, I don't worry about. But when I'm writing chapter 5, I'm sketching out chapter 7 a little bit, you
Yep.
know, and things like that. So I just kind of flow that way to allow for the discovery, but to still have a plan. I always know the ending, you know, and I try to find a beginning. I mean, you know this from Space Pew Pew, where I just
Yeah.
kind of shove you in something that
Yeah.
might be confusing. And because I just really love that, like I love starting in
Oh.
the middle of like you
Yeah.
have no details and
Yeah.
crazy stuff is going on, and so like we go from there.
But it
So
works.
so yeah, that's the process for me. Like I like the music, I like the piece, and I like watching the world, and I like a good little breakfast sandwich and a nice cup of something.
Heck yeah.
All
That's a
right,
pretty good process. I
I mean,
like
you
it.
have to.
I like it.
Yeah,
So
and like
you
not
listen.
often. So
Oh yeah. What
like
were
I
you
don't
gonna
get
say?
out there. I don't get out to like the coffee shops often or
Yeah.
anything like that. So
Okay.
like I do some work at home and things like that. But when I do, it's definitely a treat. And I don't. If I put down 100 words, I fold it up and I go
Yeah.
home and I'm like, all right, well, that was what it was.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll sit there and I'll put down like 7, 8,000.
Dang.
So like it all just kind
Yeah.
of depends. But I'm past the point where I knock myself down for it.
Yeah. Right. That's good. That's good.
Yep.
I gotta get to that point.
Yep.
So you always listen to music? Do you listen? Does it have to be instrumental, or you can listen to anything and it doesn't affect, like, distract you?
Okay, so not anything,
Okay.
but definitely limited lyrics,
Yep.
if
Yep.
possible. So
Yeah.
I tend to go towards like prog metal more than anything else.
Okay.
So I listen to a lot of Tool. I listen to a lot of Opeth.
Nice.
Like those kinds of bands. Tesseract is another good one. Monuments is a good one too. There's a bunch. Ancients I just discovered, and those guys are like really awesome. You know, and so like I can't, you know, it might be my favorite song of all time. I can't throw on the Humpty Dance and write like, you know, sadly.
Right. Not
If
gonna
if
work.
there's a lot of lyrics, I'll start typing the lyrics. Like
Yeah.
like my brain
Yep.
doesn't
Yep.
doesn't do it.
Same.
So yeah, I'll definitely I have to listen to something. I have a really hard time
Yeah. I'm the
writing in
same.
silence.
Yep.
You know, well, what
Same.
do you listen to?
I'm actually weird. Like I listen when I'm writing, I listen to either, like, I'll have like the TV on, or I listen to a lot of podcasts or um YouTube videos, booktube videos. And it's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like the coffee shop. To me, I'm like, I don't feel like alone. I feel like there's people around, and
Right,
I
right,
can
yeah.
listen to the conversation, or I can completely block it out. You know what I
Ooh,
mean? And somehow it works for me. I don't know. But yeah, I've tried to
that's
do
amazing.
music, and I'm the same way. But I guess I've never tried music that has limited lyrics. Maybe that would go better for me. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll go as far back as like the '60s with it. So like, I grew up with brothers that loved listening to Yes and King Crimson, and
Hmm.
those are the original like English prog bands,
Oh yeah,
Emerson, Lake and Palmer, like all that kind of stuff because they had keyboards, they had guitar. It was a soundscape, and it engages my brain because there's different time signatures, melodies, and everything. The lyrics are limited, and they're just part of the music. And
yeah,
I think that's like, I
right.
couldn't just sit there. Um, Surprisingly, other than one chapter in or two chapters in Space Pew Pew, I can't listen to like rap while I'm
Okay,
writing. But
yeah,
for those, I did.
yeah.
So like there's definitely just like certain choices that I got to make on it. And if I'm for Caretaker, there was a scene where love was a big like influence in the scene. It was all this scene's all about love. It was at Love Park in Philadelphia. Was this scene set
Okay,
in for it? And so I wasn't listening while I was writing, but right before I spent like a good hour listening to Al Green, Marvin Gaye,
oh wow,
like all the
oh
really
yeah,
good stuff, Nat King
yep.
Cole, type,
Oh nice,
everything that just really got me in this kind of like, yeah, like this is the vibe I wanted, and then get the words out,
yeah.
and just like
Hmm.
dump them because like I was inspired, I
Yep,
was good to go, and I feel like it hit the scene just right, when I do that. So like I kind of use the music as a tool,
that's
no
good.
pun intended,
Yeah,
you know. Uh,
well played, well
just,
played.
sorry, I'm so
Oh,
sensitive.
you couldn't resist.
No, I really couldn't. I'm such a dork.
Oh man. All right. Well, you talked a little bit about Caretaker, how that came about. I want to know because I've been reading this beauty right here, and it is freaking awesome. Like
Thank you.
I'm gonna talk about it in my wrap up. I got a couple shorts I made while I've been reading it. Like it's very like just feels like a mashup. It reminds me of a lot of like the like Han Solo and Chewbacca, like their relationship,
Right.
and then just the silly zaniness of it, but also like it's got some real stuff going on, and it's
Yep.
got some deep character stuff going on in the middle of all the humor. So yeah, it's such a cool matchup. I mean, it reminds me a lot too of like Firefly. I don't know if you ever watched Firefly.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, I love
Absolutely.
Firefly. So
Yeah.
if you guys like that stuff, you need to check this out because it's awesome. But how did this come about? I want to know.
We have our first Bob Knock
Yes, there it
podcast
is.
right there.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, so how that came about, that was all right. So there's a site. Oh, what the hell was the name of it? Vocal, I think it is.
Okay.
Where like you go on there, it's kind of like Medium or whatever else, where you go on, you can write some stuff, share it, whatever else. And they were having a contest, right? Short story contest.
Okay.
And it was the short story contest started with this line, and the line was, and it's still it exists in the book, just not as the first line. But the contest was write a short story, and here's the first line of the story. Make it whatever you want. And the first line was, "It is said that in space nobody can hear you scream," um, or something along those lines. And then it,
Hmm.
it just kind of continued. And so I'm like, all right, like, sure. But I'm just going to write this. I'm going to do this my way because everybody's going to write horror.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just going to be as dumb as possible, right? Because like I'm just trying to have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so I'm like, all right, say that nobody can hear you scream, but like they didn't know, like whatever. I forget exactly what the line was. Like I said, I kind of edited it for Space Pew Pew, but it started out like that, and it start like that scream part. The very next thing that happened was Alex repairing Toshiro's groin,
I
right?
love it.
So I started the short story out with him with the pliers and like the whole thing, and then bickering back and forth
Oh
about
yeah.
it and all that. I didn't get to the inciting event of that, where he got shot and like all the other
Yeah.
stuff that happens first.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just started right there, right? And I've got them bickering and the whole thing, and it pretty much ended. You've read this part. It ended where pretty much where they escaped from Simon that first time.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
So and the whole thing with the coffee maker and like all that
Hmm.
stupid
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So so I'm like, I wrote this and I'm like, ha, Like, this is kind of fun. So I post it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever. And I had some people commented on it. And one of my friends, he's in the UK and he's been a follower on my channel for a very long time.
Hmm.
And he read it and he's like, dude, this is hysterical. Like, I love the
It
vibe
is.
of it and everything else.
Ah,
And I was like, cool, and then like that was it. And I went back to whatever else I was working on. And I was like thinking, like, I need a new project that's like something or whatever else. And the whole time, Alex and Toshiro they implanted themselves in my brain and they wouldn't stop bickering
mhm.
in my head for weeks. Like, I kept hearing their conversations, really. Like, they're going back and forth on these different things. They're insulting each other. I
Mhm.
love the odd couple dynamic,
Yes.
where it's like
Yep.
they can't stand each other, but they can't live without each other.
Yes.
And
I
just like
love that, man.
all of the tension and hilarity that forces,
Yeah. Yeah.
and not just from like a bickering standpoint, but just from like a life standpoint. You have an android who's not aging, and you
Right.
have a human that is, and like
Yeah.
they've been buddies for a long time. Like,
Yeah.
there's going to be questions like, what
Yeah.
happens?
Yeah.
It's we can't live that life forever, and
Right.
all those different
Yeah.
things. So
Mhm.
I'm like, like, I really want to do more with this. And I was heading up to it was getting close to LibertyCon in Tennessee, in Chattanooga, not last June but the June before.
Mhm.
And I was at LibertyCon for 2 years before then. My first year just to check everything out. My second year I was on a couple panels. That was cool. Sold a couple copies of The Caretaker. Tell people about that. Excuse me. And then LibertyCon was coming up, and at the con you can book a reading room. And I'm like, yeah, let me book a reading room. Let me read.
Mhm.
And reading rooms are notorious. Nobody ever goes to the reading room, right? Like, it's
Right.
you and it's like three friends, and it's
Yeah.
just kind of sad. Because like they're all doing other stuff. And
Mhm.
like you'll be up there in a reading room and it's like your time slot to read, but like downstairs, Larry Correa's in a panel. Like,
Right.
nobody's hanging out with me.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was there. Philip Booker was there as well, and he and I have had that a couple times in the reading room together. And there were four other people. One of them was my fiance Jacqueline, and three other ladies were there. So I'm like, cool, right? I got a fellow author and three people, and my person, and all right. So I sat down, and he's like, why don't you go first? Like, this is just like there's
Yeah.
a few of us. Like, why don't you just read something? I was like, all right, cool. So I read first chapter of The Caretaker. They were blown away. Like, oh my God. And immediately before I did anything else, they're like, we're just buying the book, like, right now. So I was like,
Nice.
okay, cool. That's
Yeah.
good. I worked very, very hard on the book. I'm
Yeah.
super proud of it. And so I was like, great. And so Philip read some stuff. It was good. And, and we had like just some extra time.
Mhm.
And he's like, read something else. And I'm like, well, I don't really have anything else. But I said, okay, like, I got this short story. I just have one chapter of it. Let me just read this.
Yeah.
And it's the first chapter of Space Pew Pew.
Mhm. Which is fantastic.
They were just like, what? So they were like, all right. They said, while I was reading it, I didn't know this, but all of them were with Three Ravens Publishing, who published Space Pew Pew.
Mhm.
And while I was reading it, they were texting each other and the guy who runs Three Ravens saying, you have to meet the Space Pew Pew guy.
Ooh.
Like, this is right up your alley.
Yeah.
Right. And just goes to show you, like, you never know who you're going to run
Yeah.
into, and everything
Very
can just change
true.
a trajectory as an author.
Yep.
So I met with him. We talked about it. I pitched it to him, and he's like, how much of the book is done? I'm like, one chapter, and I just read it. He's like, all right, like, finish it up, send it to me, and the whole thing. And so
Yes.
worked on it, and got it done, and all that kind of stuff. In between then, I did a short story for there. It came from the Trailer Park anthology.
Ooh, that's cool.
So the Ballad of Esmeralda Calhoun is in there. I
Okay.
love writing that. I would write more of that for sure.
Awesome.
And so it's like a Tucker and Dale versus Evil vibe.
Ooh, I
right?
love that.
Yep.
What's
And,
that? What's that anthology called? I love
It
anthologies.
came from the
Came
Trailer
from the
Park.
trail. Oh yeah, I've heard of those.
Yeah, I think they're up to 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Like I forget exactly which.
All right. Which volume is that you're in?
I'm
Sorry.
in 3.
I want to check it out, man. Volume 3. Okay.
I was actually thinking of reading that story like on a stream just for fun.
Yeah.
The practice reading out loud. I was thinking
Heck
about doing
yeah.
that Tuesday actually.
Okay.
I don't know if you're in the chat and you're paying attention. I'm sorry. I'm just going on, but if you want to have me reading that thing like on a stream, if you're down for that, just let me know. Like I'd consider it if you guys would hang out with me.
Heck yeah.
It'd probably take about 45 minutes, something like that. So anyway, so yeah, I got that one out. I got Space Pew Pew done. I sent it in, and he was like, "Holy hell!" So we got on a call, and Jackie was there with me. She was on the call as well, just like a little FaceTime call with him.
Yeah.
And he said the first thing I need to ask Jackie, what's wrong with him? And I was like, well, okay, like that's all right. And he's like, man. I'm sorry you have to deal with that brain on a day-to-day basis. But that's the way I am. And so yeah, I mean, I got it finished out and done, and it all started from just trying to be an idiot for like a stupid, because I was just like kind of irritated with everybody on Vocal at that point. Like I've been off there for a long time. Because it was just all the same kind of stories and everything else. I'm not trying to disparage fellow authors, but like come on, like I just wanted to do something really, different. And a tribute to the stuff that I grew up and loved, like Airplane and like all that kind of stuff.
I could see that.
Yeah. Jeremy mentioned Fifth Element. I think that's a really good comp for it, because it's got the space. There's some serious stuff. Like the characters it's not all stupid.
Right.
I just like that element of
it. It works, man. It pulls it all together. It's good.
Yeah. It's funny because I came to this realization after I wrote it. Or while I was in the middle of it, like well into it. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, each of these characters is running. Alex is running home.
Right.
Andromeda's running away.
Yep.
Toshiro wants to run, but he doesn't know where to.
Right.
Leopold is running to wherever he can learn something and just mess with it all.
Yeah.
So like Boom Boom is running into the fray. Like I've got like Simon is running after Alex. Like
that's true.
Like, that's like really weird because it was totally unintentional. But I'm like, this is interesting. Everybody's just sort of chasing something, whatever. That maybe they're just never gonna get.
Right.
So I don't know. I just enjoy exploring those themes, I guess.
That's cool, man. Yeah, it's awesome, dude. You did an awesome job. I love it. I can't wait to finish it up and then check out Caretaker next.
Look,
I know it's way different tone.
It is a different ride,
but I'm excited still.
It's definitely a different ride. It's deeply like psychological, philosophical, but it's sitting on Amazon. Look, as a self-published, never having gotten anything out before, I did everything on my own on that book. I did hire an editor. I did hire somebody in Brazil to do the cover and send me the illustrator files so I could mess with it too.
Okay.
But everything else was, that was a total first debut self-pub, and it's sitting there with 5 stars and 107 reviews. So like, I'll take it. Dude. I'm right around 1,000 copies sold on it.
That's awesome.
So it's, and people begging for a sequel, and it just hasn't quite felt right yet, but it's getting there. I am about like a good 40 to 50,000 words into a sequel on it.
Nice.
But like this is a kind of book that requires a certain emotional frame of mind.
Right.
And so it's not like an easy, it's not as easy to just sit down and do that. I really have to put myself in the shoes of the protagonist for that one to get it out, but it'll get there. I'm not in any kind of a rush, man.
That's right. That's what you got to do. Don't force it.
Exactly. Did you have a favorite moment in Space Pew Pew that you've had so far? I'm curious. A favorite moment? You're like what, 5 away from the end, maybe?
Yeah, probably. I have to look to see, but yeah, around there. Man, I feel like you do such a good job introducing new characters because something crazy is always going on to introduce them. So I feel like every one of those has been my favorite. I mean, the very beginning, that first chapter, like, it was so good, man. It was awesome. But then, like, when you first meet Andromeda, like the whole like that was awesome. And a lot of the things that she says and does just crack me up.
Yep.
But Leopold, when he comes along, I mean, yeah, dude, I think like, but my favorite thing at its heart, I think, is just Toshiro and Alex, like
That
just
relationship.
their relationship and the bickering and the moments when they seem like they're just at each other's throats, but then when no one else can hear, and he and Alex really could like throw Toshiro under the bus or get rid of him or talk bad about him, he's always, risking himself, risking
Right.
things for him. And you did that so well. It's
Oh,
awesome, man.
yeah,
So
I
I think
appreciate
that's my
that.
favorite part, but I do love the way you introduce new characters. Like if a new character's coming in, I know something wild and crazy.
Something crazy about that.
And I love
Hey,
it.
you just wait for Space Pew Pew 2, buddy.
Oh,
It's
dude,
like
I cannot wait,
you're gonna
man.
have there's gonna be a lot of that. I got a whole thing about like, it's fun to explore like what do different civilizations look like and all
Yeah.
this kind of stuff. And so, I was thinking, I'm like, what would be really funny is just like this colony of like, of post-Terrans. Post-Terran is what I call somebody who's like descendant from Earth, essentially.
Okay.
And if there was a colony of them that were trying to live like it was 1990s on Earth, right? And so
Dude, that's
they're
just
like,
sweet.
and that's like, I've got one of the characters and he's just like like, oh, I do a bit of woodworking myself. Like, he's got the New Balance with the socks pulled up, the cargo
Yeah.
shorts and
Oh yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
polo,
yeah,
like that
yeah,
whole
yeah,
vibe,
yeah,
the dad bod vibe,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and all that. And, and then like, what would that look like if he comes into the mix and then starts issuing advice? I will say something that I haven't mentioned to anybody. I'll
Mhm.
say it right here. Space Pew Pew
Ooh.
2 is going to require 2 books.
Oh,
Not necessarily require, but I
okay.
have to write one in order to have a reference to it in actual Space Pew Pew 2.
Okay. All
And the
right.
other book is going to be a handbook.
Oh, I
Those are the
love that.
only details I'm gonna give, but Alex is gonna come across a handbook that just screws everything up in Space Pew Pew 2, and I'm going to write the handbook first, so you can actually grab a copy of it, so you can read it along with Alex in certain
Oh,
spots and everything else.
dude,
So
that is awesome.
I'm just looking to have a really good time with it,
Heck
and
yeah.
one of the beautiful things about this kind of stuff is like there's no like I'm not a hard sci-fi guy. I'm not sitting here like,
Right.
doing quantum
Yeah, yeah,
calculations
yeah,
and
yeah. Yep,
like it's no,
yep.
it's all hand wavium, like
Yeah,
all of it.
yeah.
And but the freedom that gives me is like super
Oh
fun.
yeah, yeah.
That's why I've got trading cards and the bookmarks that broke here
Yes.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, these trading cards are sweet, man. Where I was gonna ask you, how did the making these go with like the artists and stuff? They look awesome.
So that is lightly edited AI art.
Okay.
I do not sell the cards; I give them away,
Okay.
which is why I'm
Yep.
not selling AI art. All of the other elements of it, the backs and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
This is all me in Adobe Illustrator,
Okay.
putting it all together. So I went through. I generated some inspiration character things and whatnot because it helps me to actually have that picture of them.
Yeah. It's so
I
cool.
formed it until I had it down and I got it, and then I was like, I wonder what companies are out there that do it. I found a company that does them, and I printed up a whole bunch of copies. Now, on this last LibertyCon, this last June, I
Yeah.
had a bunch of these card packs, and I have them in a
Mhm.
little display thing back here too.
Yeah.
I had a table with some books. Anybody that came by, I said, "Come listen to me read Space Pew
Yeah.
Pew tomorrow, 7 o'clock, and if you come, I'll give you a pack of cards."
Nice.
I handed out invitations to people.
Yeah.
Turns out I had about 35 people in that room for my reading.
Dang.
Unheard of. Now,
Yeah.
Larry Correa wasn't there this year.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
So like
You
fair
lucked
enough.
out.
I know. Yeah, it's fine. Like I know where I am. But like it got a lot of I talked to a lot of people. I was handing out invitations, come listen to me read.
Yeah.
There was a QR code they could scan it, add it to their calendar to get a
Oh,
reminder
nice.
to be there to listen to me.
Okay.
I had a full room. Somebody that was staff there came up afterwards and they were like, "How the hell did you get everybody in this room?"
Yeah.
Well,
That's wild,
bribery.
man.
Like bribery is how I did it. Because each
Oh,
one of these packets, each set of cards cost me like $1. So, all
that's
right, I
pretty
spent
awesome.
$35. I got a full
Yeah.
room, and a bunch of these people got into the Kickstarter, have the
Yeah.
book, and
Yeah.
everything else. So
Yep.
you got to be like, you got to think outside the box a little bit when you're
Mhm.
doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's that. the year before for Caretaker. This is the last one I have, I think. That is a
Nice.
poker chip
Oh, that's cool.
for the Dolos Casino and Resort.
Oh,
QR code to the Amazon book on the back.
sweet.
And so I was at the con just flipping chips to people.
Yeah.
You know, and they're
That's
just like,
brilliant, man.
What is this? And I'm like, well, that casino is a scene is like featured in the book. So, you know, that's just how it works with me. Like I try to think outside the box. I try to get people, you know, just something that you didn't expect or whatever else. Yes. And see, audio's still low. I'm not really sure what's going on with that, but
Yeah.
I can hear myself okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So that's pretty much my story, man. You know, that's where it all came from, I guess.
That's awesome, dude. You got lots of cool things in the work, and you just keep chugging along. I love it.
It's all I can do, and then I try to do this at the same time as well.
Yeah.
You know, and get as much out there and done as I can.
Yeah.
But I would love to run you through Sidekicks and Henchmen. What do you say?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Do this. All right. I'm gonna give you this thing. Let's open this up. I'm gonna see if I can keep the chat up here just so we can see this thing. And boom. And boom.
Boom.
There it is. All right, like that kind of works. I wonder if we can. No, we'll go.
I
We'll
know.
go like that.
It's
We'll
too
go
bad
like
they don't just let you slide the windows wherever you want.
Yeah. I think that'll work okay. Like that's okay.
Good. Yeah, that's good.
And I can zoom in and stuff like that. I'm gonna do that too, right? So here's what we've got, folks. I could do some music with it. Okay, fine. It's Sidekicks and Henchmen for my friend Chris here, and we talked a little bit. And I asked you about some of your like the things that you like and you like to see and read and all that kind of stuff. And you're like, yeah, all those movies are great. Yes, it is heckling time, Jesse. Absolutely. I'm gonna want to get you guys chiming in on these things for sure.
Yes.
And I'm just gonna zoom in over here, and here's the way I have this arranged. Now I did this with Sledge a while back, and we had a blast, right? So, because he's got the whole skull and like everything is just
and
awesome, right? And I adore that man. He was so much fun. He was so much fun to talk to. So what I thought was, well, let's do the same thing, but you're a little goofy like I am. So let's like goof it up a little bit, right?
Yes.
And do this.
I love it.
You notice I have the two sides to this. I've got the dark side for the henchmen. Yep. I've got the sidekicks over here. Yep. I tried to go for characters that were not the protagonist, that were involved in whatever the media was. Right?
Yeah, I love it.
You can judge this any way that you desire. I want to put you through it, right?
Okay.
So if you want to call it like, hey, they have to fight, that's fine with me. I don't think it's going to work for some of these, but like we'll see. But the way I was thinking of it was maybe just how they're written, how they grab your attention, how memorable they are, whichever one you think is the more impactful, I guess. Okay. And eventually we're just going to have a fight to see if good or evil wins in the end.
I love it. I love it.
So now, folks in the chat, please, pretty please, chime in and let me know who you would choose as well as the winner of this, the more impactful or funnier or what have you. A lot of these are just straight up comedy, I'm going to say. So we'll go for that. And I have prepared like boxing ring announcements for these, right?
Nice.
So I'm going to introduce the characters and I'm going to reveal them one match at a time. You pick the winners, and then we'll go and we'll do the rest of them after that, right?
All right.
So you ready to begin?
Excited. Heck yeah, let's do
it. I'm ready to start here, man. This is going to be fun. Okay, first, a man whose life is guided by revenge. He is definitely not left-handed. If you killed his father, prepare to die. Hello, it is Inigo Montoya.
Yes.
And facing off, a dramatic dinosaur with a touch of paranoia. A best friend to Woody and Buzz. It is Rex, the dinosaur.
Oh, man.
Look, I'm trying to pick good side characters here.
This is good. This is good.
Who do you got? Think it through. Talk it out if you need to or what have you.
All right, man. This one's easy. I mean, I love Toy Story, but Montego is my man. Yep. He's one of my favorite characters all time. He's got this one for sure.
Yeah. And look, I had him kind of pegged as a 1 seed here. So I'm gonna say, that's a good move, smart move. Totally expected, right? All right, let's do the next one. Right? Is anybody like nobody thinks Rex is taking that one.
Yeah, come on now. Come on.
Yeah, of course. All right. So here we go. Next one. It's good. He has a knack for trouble and endless bravery. From lighting the beacons to rallying the troops, he may have to throw himself in next time. It is Pippin.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
Yep. And who are we facing off on? You're gonna enjoy this one.
Oh gosh.
All right, here we go. Watch out for this enchanter, whose explosive entrance is just the beginning. His magic is as unpredictable as his humor is dark. Prepare yourselves for Tim the Enchanter.
Oh, nice.
So who do you got against Tim versus Pippin? Somebody's got to go.
This is a good one.
Right.
Ooh. Oh, man. Oh. I got to go with Tim.
You're going Tim the Enchanter
Going
over
Tim.
Pip. Yep. Yeah, you know, I think it's his lines, his presence in the movie, while short-lived, is probably the highlight of the flick for me.
It is.
You know,
I'm
just saying.
Yeah.
Tim for sure. Yeah,
Tim, it's got to be Tim. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we got it.
Those hobbits are so hard to root against, but we got to go with Tim on this.
We got to go with Tim the Enchanter. All right, that's good. Yeah, I think we have to go with Tim. Yep, Tim.
Oh, that's true. There's so many Tims in Booktube world. We got to go.
Holy hand grenade versus salted pork. That's fantastic.
I like it.
All right, next one, my friend. Oh, for this one, I have to. Okay, so hold on. For this one, I have to kind of prepare myself a little bit. So I'm gonna bounce the chat for just a moment, and I'm gonna put us here for just a moment, right? Because you're gonna know what's going on.
Oh man.
I have to kind of get into you gotta get into the mood here. You know what's about to happen. I had to do it.
Oh.
All right, so here we go. Next up, a mercenary with a heart of gold, and he knows that. Pain is scary. His hat is his crown, and Vera is his queen. He is the hero of Canton, the man they call Jane, right? There we go, and there's Jane.
Oh,
yes. I couldn't find a good picture.
That's an impressive hat, man.
It's handmade. I got it on Etsy from this lady who just does Firefly hats. I was like,
so it's like legit a Firefly hat. I was saying, that's like spot on.
Yeah. No, she got it right.
Oh man,
for sure. All right, next up, let's see. Oh yeah, okay. So this is a good match. We're gonna go. Actually, let me bounce the chat back in here so we can go like that, and we'll go there to make sure we got. Okay, good. All right. We're back. Yes, the rabbit kills half of them. He started as a simple security officer, but his paranoia paid off. Now he's the hero he always knew he could be. From the screen to the stars, it is Guy Fleegman from Galaxy Quest.
Ooh, nice.
Yep, Guy was the red shirt in Galaxy
Quest.
Yep.
And that was pretty good.
He was really freaking great in that movie. And
he was really great.
I love that movie anyway. It's one of my
I do.
favorites.
It's same. It's so good.
Yep. So who do you got on this one?
This is a tough one, but I am a Firefly like junkie. I gotta go with Jane. Go with Jane.
No, I get it. Like, it's clear who I'm rooting for here.
Yeah,
It's like I'm picking sides. It's all good. I did
that was a good one. Yeah,
I did that with Sledge. I was like, John Wick for the win. He's like, nah, lost in the first round. I'm like, you jerk. How did you do that to me?
Dang it.
Right. I know. All right. Anyway, so next up, a true hero with an axe to grind. He will never trust an elf. From the depths of Moria to the fields of Pelennor, it's Gimli, son of Gloin.
Nice.
And in this match, I don't even know. I don't know what came over me when I did this.
Oh, gosh.
Loyal to a fault, even if it means carrying Her Royal Highness's matched luggage. Half man, half dog. He is his own best friend. It's Barf.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Oh man, this is a good one.
This is a good one.
Oh gosh,
I'm real curious who you got in the, like, maybe give the totally unbiased host. No, not at all. Not at all. So who do you guys got between Barf and Gimli? Like,
I mean, obviously, if it was a fight, we know who would win this one. That would be easy.
Yeah,
But
obviously
I feel
barf.
like
Yeah.
I feel like they're both yeah, right. Hands down, no
Of
no
course.
doubt about it. Oh man, I feel like they both are memorable in their roles. I'm gonna have to go with all right, we're gonna honor the late John Candy. I'm gonna make
Yeah.
some people mad.
Literally
We're gonna have an upset. We're gonna have an
everybody is just
upset here.
saying Gimli, 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 Gimli.
I know, and we're sorry, chat. Gimli's done.
I
He's
love it.
done.
Based book beast. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true. I went against a fellow bearded brother. I'm sorry, but
Gimli, or you
oh no,
have to...
Jesse's gonna have to get tossed.
Yeah, I mean, like, think about it. Maybe not as a fight, but just as
No,
like
no, no.
the character and all of that. Like, they're both great for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I can see it both ways. Gimli has the advantage of being in multiple movies, granted. You know, but hey, look, every bracket has to have a good upset. You chose a great one, you know, and yeah, don't you dare.
And think about Barf and Jane interacting now. Now that's worth it right there.
Oh, we're gonna get to that for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be good. All right. So now we got to jump over to the Henchman, right? And
Ooh, yeah.
I
can't wait
tried
for
to
these.
pick I tried to pick henchmen, you know, not like main villain type stuff. Maybe some of these might be like, there might be an obscure one or two in there, like who
Okay.
knows. But we'll run with it and
Okay.
see how it goes. All right. So first one. Back to my voice. I'm sorry. Let's see. He makes Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates look like morons. His dizzying intellect is truly inconceivable. Enter Vizini.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Yeah, I just realized I have Princess Bride as the one seeds.
Yeah.
But like it's that
He's
movie.
top notch, man.
Yeah, exactly. Never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
That's
right. All right. And another, like an actor that somehow is like quite similar. Diminutive at first, this great neighbor is the only one who can get past the gatekeeper. He is an absurd harbinger of doom. It is the Keymaster.
Oh, the Keymaster.
Right.
Oh,
Rick Moranis
nice.
as just one of the most brilliant comedian, like comic minds, I think, ever.
Oh, yes, he is. He is.
So we'll go with that. But who do you got in this one as the more impactful character, perhaps? Like, I'm not sure.
I know, that's tough. Impactful. Oof, that is hard.
Or just whatever criteria you want to judge it on. I'm curious what everybody thinks in the chat too. So comment on it, please.
All right, I'm gonna say, like, if I think of these movies, two of my favorite movies.
Yep.
When I think about the movies, right away I think about Princess Bride. I think about him right away.
Right.
When I think about Ghostbusters, I don't right away think of the Keymaster.
Right.
So for that reason, got to go the number one seed.
It's Vizini. Yeah, no, that's the right call, man. I think it's the right call.
Everybody's thinking Keymaster.
I love Rick Moranis.
Chat,
like,
don't turn on me now.
This is the one where it's like, all right, like you guys can root for the underdog, but like this is clearly Vizini's win. The way he's written, his part in the story, his interaction with Wesley, which is just like one of the most brilliant scenes, like just ever.
So good.
So yeah, I'm behind you, man. I'm behind you on that one for sure.
All right.
So here we go. This one may be a bit more obscure.
Okay.
Mystical warriors of ancient lore. They are as deadly as they are mysterious, causing too much trouble in Little China. It's the Three Storms.
Wow.
Okay. As excellent henchmen, right? I'm like that's the definition of henchman right there.
Yeah.
And then for this one, this is just like, this would be the dumbest fight imaginable. Let's go. His bumbling service to science is as comedic as it is catastrophic. There is something very abnormal about this particular henchman. Here comes Igor.
Oh, nice. I didn't even need to think about it. Igor. Yeah. Look at that face.
I know, exactly. Marty Feldman for the win.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I know. What a great character. Abby
heck yeah.
Abby what? Abby normal. Yeah, no, I love it. Inconceivable. All right, so here we go. Our next one. Okay. Let me get back there. Okay, good. From the safety of the castle walls, he's just as likely to insult your mother as he is to throw a cow at you. He already has a holy grail, and it's a very nice. It's the French taunter.
That's a good one.
Yep. Next, their philosophy is nihilism, but their antics are anything but meaningless. This trio ruined the rug that really tied the room together, man. It's the nihilists. Also, one of my absolute favorite actors ever, Peter Stormare.
Oh man,
right there as one. His job as Satan in Constantine is unparalleled to me. I absolutely love the guy. So, who do you got?
Oh man, well, you know what? I'm feeling the heckling from the chat, so I'm gonna go with the French dude.
You're gonna go with if he doesn't pick the French taunter, then we riot.
See, I knew it was coming. We're going with the French taunter.
Well, from here, I shall taunt you a second time.
Yes,
of course. French taunter, French taunter, French taunter.
I had a feeling that was gonna be the popular choice.
Totally agree with that. We already have one. Oh my God, I love it.
Oh, that is good stuff.
Our last henchman match before we get into some quarterfinals. He is small in size, but huge in villainy. His silence speaks volumes. Here comes the pint-sized terror, who just happens to be a tripod. I'm really sorry about that reference. It's Mini-Me.
Oh, yes. Nice.
All right. Yep. Their scene when they're doing the thing in the prison. They're doing oh my God. Just that that was so great.
That was so good.
So last one, a grotesque figure with an appetite as legendary as his villainy. You better fork over all of your space bucks for Pizza the Hut.
Pizza the Hut. Oh man. Oh, that is good.
Between Mini-Me and Pizza the Hut.
Oh man. All right. I'm gonna sing you my answer and tell me if you know what the answer is. Who's moving on? Here we go. You ready? Oh, there it is. Just the two of us. You and I. Move him over. Pizza the Hut. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. He was a huge part of the movies, much more than Pizza the Hut was.
Oh yeah.
So like I'm totally down with that. If your metric is just like impactful storytelling and all that kind of stuff, for sure. Which brings us, do you want to do henchman quarterfinals, or do you want to do hero like a sidekicks?
Yeah, we can stay on henchman side and go back and forth like
we'll do
that.
All right. Yep. Yeah, that's good. All right, man. Oof. I mean, this
is a tough one.
This is a tough one. We've got Vizzini versus Igor.
Oh man, two of my favorite henchmen.
Where do you even go with? I got to take off this hat, man. This is really hot.
I bet it's a little itchy and hot. Man, they're both very impactful.
I wonder if I can put it over my headphones. No, not really. It's fine. Yeah, both very impactful.
Okay, let's think about this. Man, all right. Now I'm trying to remember. Does he survive? Right, he survives his movie, right?
So doesn't he? Yeah.
Okay, because I love them.
Minute, man.
I know, me too. Because I love them both. Right. Igor was never outsmarted, and he survived. He didn't die from being outsmarted. So we're gonna go Igor.
Oh, we have an upset.
Yes,
I like it. I
inconceivable.
He was probably like a 5 seed or something like that. I don't know. I had him ranked according to all. I actually fed it all into Grok AI. I was like, these are all of these people. I want you to rank them on these criteria from a scale of 1 to 100, like weighting points this way and this way, just to see what it would do.
That's kind of cool that it did it. Yeah,
it was actually pretty fun to do that. Yep. And oh man, here we go. We've got Mini-Me.
This is good.
And the French taunter. Yeah. Well,
man.
Where even do you go with this one? And howdy, Chance. You're a little late, but like you made
What's
it
up,
here
Chance?
During some exciting stuff for sure.
Yes. Oh man. All right. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Because I gotta go with I'm gonna go with the French taunter here. I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay. Talk it out.
Because if this was gonna be the finals, this is what I want to see. Like, I mean, scroll back up. I mean, this is easy material for the French taunter. He walks up like that. I would want to see that interaction. Oh,
gross.
man.
Yeah. All right. Look, I respect it. I respect it for sure.
Oh, man.
But we got to get over to these guys now.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
Yeah. These get tough, right?
It is.
Mini Me's mother was a hamster. Wasn't he just like created in a lab? I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
That was the thing. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So
all right.
So here we go with Inigo and Tim, the Enchanter. And so tell me, man, what are you thinking? What's your thought process?
I gotta go with the number one seed with my boy. I love Tim, but
yeah,
he's so good in that movie, and all his speech he just makes over and over and over and over again, especially in the final boss battle for him. Like, so good. Got to go with him.
Do you have a favorite line or moment from Princess Bride?
Oh man, that's a good question. I just love that movie. Like that, it's actually got an even deeper meaning because that was like my mom's favorite movie, and we read the book together. We watched the movie together. My mom passed away like 12 years ago from cancer. So that movie, that book and that movie are always like,
yeah, no, that's wonderful.
Special to me. Sure. But like, I don't know. I think so I guess his line was one of my favorites to say myself and like act out when I was a kid. I love the whole "as you wish" thing, especially when he's falling down the hill. That's
for
awesome.
Sure. Yeah.
But
for sure.
To say, I always have loved Andre the Giant's line when he's eating the peanuts and he's, "Anybody want a peanut?" I just always love that part. That's probably my favorite.
Yeah. I'd go with that. For me, it's there's this scene where they do the whole like Holocaust cloak and the whole thing when he's like when Andre the Giant, they had the wheelbarrow and he was
yes.
And then they go up to the guy and he's like, "Just give me the gate key." And he's like, "What gate key?" And he just says, "Fezzik, tear his arms off." And he's like, "Oh, you mean this gate key?" Like that, just that quick little quip. I'm like, that to me was just like, that's the movie, right there.
Yes, you're right. I mean, I love that.
Yeah, I love all of it. I could probably recite the movie from start to finish.
Oh, I love it.
For sure. Never get tired of it.
No, nope.
Can never be remade. If it does, we start burning stuff down. That's all.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go with Jane and Mog.
All right. I mean,
come on.
Barf's coming. His run comes to an end here. Jane's taking this one. Come on now.
That is definitely the right move. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there was going to be a riot. Like somebody was going to be busting into my apartment here if it wasn't that. All right, so we have made it to to figure out who's going to battle it for the throwdown champion of henchmen versus sidekicks. So which one you want to do first? You want to go dark or light?
Oh man. All right, well let's do the sidekicks first because the winner is still my boy from Princess Bride. He's still taking it. Even though Firefly is my favorite TV show of all time, so it's close, but
right. All right,
he's taking it.
So edging out the win is Inigo Montoya for the finals right here. If the Princess Bride is remade, we ride. Yeah, of course. Like it's absolutely.
Oh yeah, that would not be good.
Absolutely. All right. So next we've got the most ridiculous and absurd semifinals I have ever seen. How do you think this one shakes out? Is it the French taunter or is it Igor?
You picking the French taunter is just so. It was so good of you because I want to think about the final matchup. It's the French taunter because when Montoya starts saying his line, the French taunter is just going to keep interrupting him, and it's going to piss him off over and over again. He's just going to be like, what was that?
That's good.
He's just going to keep messing with him, and it's going to be so glorious.
I mean, so we have our final matchup. We've got Inigo Montoya versus the French taunter. Spaniard versus Frenchman. Epic, right?
Yes, yes.
So chat, what do you think? Before we dig into this one, like, real deep here, what do you think versus French taunter versus Inigo Montoya? Who do you think would take this one? I'm curious to see if anybody's got an opinion on our final before I ask you for your. I'll tell you what. Give me some thoughts on this, but without like giving me an answer as to who you think
Mhm.
like actually takes it.
It's gonna be a epic showdown.
Right.
He's gonna come walking up to this castle, probably looking for the person that killed um, he's coming for his revenge. He's going to be looking for that.
Right.
And then the Fringe Taunter is going to be up there and he is going to get inside of his head. He's going to piss him off. The Fringe Taunter is going to be just kicking butt with his words and his lackadaisical humor.
Right.
It's going to be epic, but there'll be a final thing that happens that'll tell you the winner. And I'll tell you when we're ready.
All right. So I've got a vote for Spaniard. I've got Taunter would dominate. I've got we know it's Inigo, and we've got Taunter for sure. Wow, like I did not expect to have a nice 50-50 split cooking here.
I know.
Anyone else? Like let's go. Like let me know what you're thinking. For me, I'm like, all right. Like obviously, if I just think of like storytelling, right? Both characters hugely entertaining. Inigo definitely is like the more prominent character in the work, for sure. The French Taunter, arguably the more entertaining of the two.
Yes.
Because like, you know, Inigo, that was a very serious thing with the scars and hunting down the six-fingered man and the whole thing. Like, so like there's a lot. The French Taunter is literally just there to like, just to talk crap at you.
Yeah.
So this one's really, really, really tricky. So let's see. We've got Taunter for sure. We've got a how many cows does the French Taunter have? And where is the six-fingered man? Let's assume that he's already been dispatched. The French Taunter shows Inigo 6 fingers, and it's on Inigo by a skewer. French Taunter for the win. Montoya walks away knowing something bad will happen to the Frenchman. Inigo already stormed a castle on screen. That is true.
True.
Yeah, we saw him break in the door and the whole like
true.
Yep, all that. Yep, for sure. Survived. Inigo, Montoya all day. So we've got a slight lean towards Inigo. So I'm going to ask you, my friend, give me your answer. Who is the winner?
All right, I'm going to tell you what happens. So so he walks up to the castle. The French Taunter is taunting him, having a great time with him. Monteo thinks, you know what? I don't have time for this. This guy is an idiot. He doesn't know anything. I'm just going to leave, go on my way. And then the French Taunter, he's having a hot dog for lunch, and he looks down at part of the hot dog, and he gets a good idea that turns out to be a bad idea because he holds the hot dog up to make it look like he has 6 fingers after he hears the story. And he's like, whoa, don't go yet. Look at me. I'm the 6-fingered man. And then he comes back like a beast, scales that castle, and takes him out.
And
so
takes him out.
It's Intego.
We have Inigo as the winner of the first ever henchman versus sidekick throwdown on here. Very well done. Thank you everybody for having some fun in the chat with this one. I think the big one that everybody was really mad at was Gimli on this one. For sure. Like, but honestly,
thanks for me, but it was fun.
I would probably agree with you. I may have had Vizzini one more.
I was thinking that was going to be it until it's just the French Taunter threw off all my plans.
It did, yeah. That messed up a whole lot up in that one. There we go, man. I appreciate that. That was
fun,
dude. It's a great time. This is the kind of absurd stuff I like to do on streams. So it's good. It's a lot to put together things like this. Like I was working on this for a couple hours today, but at the same time, like it's totally worth it. We get to have fun. We get to see your thought process and all that kind of stuff too. So wait, there's just the chat is active. Let's see.
Awesome chat.
We got a genius. We've got a that was way closer than I thought, and a great improvised play-by-play. Yep. Did we just bully and heckle Chris into siding with us? Maybe. Was it worth it? Yes. Right. Jeremy called it. He called it.
Yeah, he knew.
Congrats to Inigo. We wish you much peace. He would make a great Dread Pirate Roberts.
He would. So there's
that. Yeah, no, I there were a couple of other characters that I had like kind of in my back pocket that I was going to do. I
Yeah.
was going to put Bender from Futurama on here.
Ooh, that would have been a good one.
You know, but like I'm not even sure is he sidekick or henchman because like
Ah, yeah,
he's
what would he
kind of
be? Yeah.
like he's a real gray
Kind of
area.
both. Yeah.
And then from Firefly, as henchman was Saffron,
Ooh.
right? When she because she
Yeah.
did the whole where she like
Yeah.
seduced
Yeah.
and like the whole
That would have
thing.
been a really good henchman.
That
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
yeah. See, that's a good
Yeah.
one too.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, let me go with these and then just see
Yeah.
like
Those were all great
see what we
questions
got.
or great options.
Absolutely, man. Is there anything else like you feel like touching on for anything or any other questions or whatever you got maybe for
Yeah.
me?
Let me think.
You know,
I am curious. What made you decide to come back to start doing the YouTube thing again after your channel was kind of dormant? Like, and how long was it kind of dormant for a while? And what made you decide to come back?
ooh, I'm gonna need a sip for this one.
I was gonna say I've been curious. I've been wanting to ask you.
Okay, so when I had the channel originally going, I was do you know what MBTI is?
No.
Carl Jung, psychology. It's like the 4-letter INFJ, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I started the channel talking a lot about that because it was
Yes.
very interesting and it was very
Yeah.
helpful to me.
Yeah.
You know, just to get a grip on some of the things that I tend to go through and some
Yeah.
of the things that I tend to have in my headspace, which
Yeah.
is imposter syndrome and all that other stuff. You know,
Yeah.
cooking that just prevents me from doing the things that I generally want to do. And
Mm-hmm.
it was really helpful for me. So I kind of started the channel that way as a way to talk about it, get into it, and form a little bit of a community around it.
Yep.
You know, one of the things that INFJs really enjoy is like talking about being an INFJ. So there's that. The skull of one of my enemies. Yeah, sure. That I'm drinking beer out of the top of. So I did that. I have to circle back here just because this is important. I wanted to start a YouTube channel for like a long time
Mm-hmm.
before I did. And what ended up happening was it's like I said, my brother had passed away and it was sudden. He was 54 years old. He was having a routine shoulder surgery. He didn't come out of anesthesia. His heart gave out every time they tried to resuscitate him. It just didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really unexpected. He was healthy. He was lively. Everything. I talked to him just like a day or two prior. And I was in Las Vegas at the time. I was on vacation and got the call from my sister that was like, we lost Joe. That's all she said.
Yeah.
And so, at that point, I kind of had this thing where I was like, I've been wanting to do this. Life can change in a snap. Any one of us, that's talking and interacting on a day-to-day basis could just be gone tomorrow. And I'm sitting here, like I'm agonizing over starting the channel, getting myself out there, trying to make things perfect. And do I have the right equipment and like all this kind of stuff? And I was just like, you know what? Let me just start it.
Yeah.
Like, let me just go and do this. And, fake it till you make it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just start talking about it. So I started talking about psychology and I had some people that came into the circle and they were interested in what I had to say. Excuse me. At the same time, I was getting into the caretaker and writing that. One of my last conversations with my brother before he passed, like voice to voice conversation, not text. I was telling him about, when I mentioned I started the caretaker, I had the 500 words, I started expanding on it and like all this kind of stuff. I was very excited about it. My brother was always like hustling, doing something. He had like 400 side hustles, right? So he was always like that kind of guy. He was such an extrovert, knew absolutely everybody.
Yeah.
Like 700 people showed up when he passed. Line was around the building like 4 times. It took just like hours and hours and all that kind of stuff to just see everybody. And every single person that I saw was like, I just talked to him last week. I'm like, how is it even possible? Like, but that's what, that was my brother. Right.
Yeah.
And, so anyway, he was 10 years older than me, when he passed. Like I'm catching up to him now.
Right.
So anyway, so I started the channel and it was a way for me to start to work through some of those things, in a way that I could get a handle on. And at the same time, talk a little bit about the writing. One of the last conversations I had with him, I was telling him about it. He was very excited and he's like, I got to go. I've got work stuff. He's like, you're going to Vegas, but when you get back, I want to hear all about it. And of course that didn't
Right.
happen.
Didn't get to. Yeah.
So no, I was just a couple thousand words in really. And so, so anyway, I was like, let me just do this and let me talk about this stuff and document part of the writing journey and everything else. And so when I wrote Caretaker, I wrote the main character as an INFJ with that sort of psychological profile.
Cool.
And other characters in the book have other psychological profiles based on Carl Jung's psychology and eventually Myers-Briggs type indicators.
That's awesome.
So the interactions between different types really fascinates me.
Mhm.
Feelers talking to thinkers, people
Yeah.
that favor logic talking to people that favor emotion, and things like that. And you see that in the book with, I created the characters and put them in there to accentuate everything the main character has a hard time doing.
Mhm.
So he's constantly challenged by the people around him. In one way or another, and from different directions and everything else, not necessarily just good evil, but really just like somebody that favors like being pragmatic,
Yeah.
and somebody that favors just like kind of feeling his way through things and whatever else. So I did that. I ran the channel for a couple years. At one point, I was getting into just studying like narcissism
Okay.
and those sorts of things. I did a couple videos on that absolutely just went bonkers, right? INFJ represent. Yep, exactly. I'm INFJT. So I'm like the most annoying INFJs. So there's that. INFJs can be really annoying, man. I'm just saying. Love them all, but like they're my people. But yeah. So so I did some videos on narcissism and kind of like explaining some of the things and just my views on them. And the videos went absolutely like bonkers. And
Yeah.
so I was getting like from the Monday that week to Friday that week, I had like an extra 4,000 subs.
Crazy.
It was unreal, and just like
Yeah.
everybody out of the woodwork and all the comments and all this kind of stuff, and it was just like,
Mhm.
what just
Right.
happened?
Yeah.
And in those days, YouTube was favoring 10 to 12-minute videos.
Mhm.
Punchy to the point, that kind of stuff. Mine
Yeah.
tended to go a little bit longer than that.
Yeah.
But the algorithm did, and it wasn't doing shorts. So the
Yeah.
game is completely changed now, totally
Yeah.
different.
Mhm.
But I got to a point where, so then this is the real trick. And this is something I try to explain to authors. You build your platform of people before you get the book out.
Yeah.
Because when it came time to publish Caretaker,
Mhm.
which was November of 2020, it was late 2020 that it
Yeah.
came out. When that time hit, I had hundreds and hundreds of people that were with me
Mhm.
through, and I was very vulnerable and open about my struggles with my brother passing.
Yeah.
The hard time that I was having with everything and all of those. And they were with me through all of that. These people
Mhm.
knew me
Right.
because I was very open and very vulnerable on the stream.
Mhm.
There was one video where I touched on, in high school, I was a cutter. And
Mhm.
so, and I explained that and just like, this is what I was dealing with. And
Mhm.
at the time, when I think back, it was just a case of not being mature enough to understand and handle the overwhelming emotions that I was feeling in certain situations. And when you're not doing that, you kind of tune out. Like it's just,
Right.
it's something that can happen.
Mhm.
All covered by a tattoo now. So like you can't tell. There's no evidence.
Ooh, what's the tattoo?
This is the big old octopus. It's
Oh,
actually a
nice.
quintupus. I really need to get back to him. I need 3 more tentacles. So anyway, I reached a point a bit after that, and where, okay, so about a year, I'd say a year and 3 months ish after my brother passed, and I've told this story. People that watch, they know. My dad was power washing his house one day. It was like spring
Mhm.
and didn't feel well. Went to the hospital. Long story short, came back about 5 days later. They had to remove a whole bunch of his intestines. He had an ostomy bag and he had 3 months to live.
Jeez.
They were like, you are loaded with cancer. There's
Mhm.
no hope whatsoever. We're just going to have to make you comfortable. And sure
Right.
enough, it was 3 months to the day that my dad left.
Jeez.
And so that kind of put everything like just you imagine like building a model of something
Yeah.
and then just tossing it up in the air. Like
Yeah.
that's what happened to my family,
Yeah.
to my mental state, to just everything, because
Yeah.
it was brother. And then it was just
Yeah.
shortly a year after, destroyed my mom. You know,
Yeah.
she's still just like really broken over the whole thing. And my brother, it was 6 years ago, February 8th, it'll be 6 years that he passed.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I still, I moved, I still worked through some things, and I hit a point where I had said everything I needed to say about the INFJ thing and the psychology and all of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And the videos started to feel, they started to feel just like strictly performative.
Right.
You know, just like
Yeah.
what's an INFJ do when they do this? What's an like?
Yeah.
I'm just not interested in that content because it doesn't dig any deeper than that, and it
Right.
just felt shallow, and it's just not authentic to who I am.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I can't, like, I'm just not going to do that anymore. But I also just don't want the channel where I'm just talking about writing, because I don't write every day.
Right.
You know, and like that, just like there's just literally nothing to talk about for like weeks at
Right.
a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, okay, I wrote 100 words. Like nobody cares, you know?
Right. Yep.
And so, you know, one of the last, one of the videos that was really like, that was really it for me was, I was filming a video that was, like, come write with me. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I had fun doing those, you know, and like, is me getting ready, and I'm getting in the car. I'm talking a little bit about what the scene is and what I'm going to write. And I take a walk with me to the coffee shop. I had my favorite seat.
That's cool.
You know, all those kinds of things. I had, everything was charged up. It was literally a perfect day, like the perfect writing day. Couldn't have asked for more. I sat down and my head just like, you know, when you have those intrusive thoughts that just start to get darker and darker and just bad.
Yep.
That was what happened. And it was all around my brother. And I feel like, you know, between everything that happened with him, my family really came apart when my brother passed, like in a big way. Everything was contentious. Everybody was fighting and all that kind of stuff. I'm the glue, you know, because I'm reasonable. I try to keep the peace. I try to talk to everybody. I'm the youngest of my siblings by 10 years.
Wow.
So, you know, I have that, that's my vibe, right? I help people.
Yep.
And when that writing thing happened, I went home, I sat down at the computer, and I turned on the camera because I'm like, you know, I'm feeling something right now, and I'm not even sure if I want to like do this or not.
Yeah.
And I started writing, and I wrote a letter to my brother, and I was just really, really angry because through all of the things that happened with him passing, my family coming apart, and then my dad passed, and my mom's moving, and like the house and the whole thing, and like all of that, and then I moved to be closer to her to kind of help out the best I can. I didn't have my time to just like deal with my brother, and deal with him being gone. And it all came out in that it ended with me picking up my keyboard, smashing it, and just crumpling to the floor as a sobbing mess. And I cut the video right there. Jackie came over, and at that point I was calmed down, and I said, I want you to see this and tell me if I should post it.
Yeah.
And she watched it, and she's like, well, listen, I know that was hard, and I know it's hard to be somebody that basically just got violent and wrecked stuff and then turned into a sobbing mess on the floor.
Yeah.
But you might help people that are dealing with things.
Yeah.
And so
100%.
I hit post, and sure enough, comment after comment, this is what healing looks like. You know, I know that was hard. I'm going through the same thing. I appreciate you. You know, I love you for putting that online.
Yep.
I'm like, they
authentic, man.
Those people were feeling things in their personal lives and showing them that it's all right to break down. It's all right to suffer. You know, and it's all right to have those emotions and display it. That was a real connection to a lot of people, and it helped a lot of people. And so, you know, after that happened, just running the channel just didn't seem right. I was in a very deep depression, and it was right after Caretaker was published. And so for a couple of years, I didn't write anything. Like I just wasn't writing at all. And I didn't really feel the creative the creative thing flowing.
Right.
Like I did a little bit, and funny enough, the thing that got me out of that depression and out of that mindset was the first chapter of Space Pew Pew, because it was
That's
fun.
awesome.
It was totally for me, and it really just had me like, you know what, like I found some joy in Alex and Toshiro.
Yeah.
You know, and because of that, they're like they're in here, like they're never leaving.
Right.
You know, and that's, and what you see with them a lot of ways in their interactions in Space Pew Pew, that sort of, you know, they can argue, but they love each other. They're not going to say it, like all those kinds of things. That very much is elements of my relationship with my brother.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, because we were like that. He would piss me off all the time. Like I would piss him off all the time.
Right.
But like when we were together, there was nothing but constant hilarity. You know, Princess Bride. Both of us could quote the movie start to finish. We watched it together 1,000 times. You know, just like all of those kinds of things. We used to watch wrestling together. You know, when it was Hulk Hogan and Bret the Hitman Hart was our favorite. You know, like all those kinds of, like, you know, so all of those things. And then, so the channel died. You know, and I left and kind of still had it. I'd post here or there, like maybe a post, and then it would go 2 months and maybe another video. But you know, YouTube doesn't reward that.
Right.
They kill your channel. Like they absolutely destroy your channel if you're not regular.
If you're not, yeah.
And so I was like, all right. And then in that time, the landscape changed. Everything went to shorts. Everything went to TikTok. Everything went to Instagram Reels. Like all this kind of stuff. I hate short form content. Like I despise it.
It's hard,
except for cat videos. Cat videos, like I'm okay with. You know. Or the one with the guy and his dog where he does beatboxing and the dog's like,
oh yeah, that one's so
I
fun.
love that guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, so like all that kind of stuff is like fantastic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That dude, I'm like, he must have gotten bit at some point. But anyway, so I was like, you know, here I am again, and I'm getting back at it. I'm finding some joy in writing again. And for me, you know, I didn't even talk about Joy-Jitsu in that entire journey. But that's a book that really helped pull me out of depression in a lot of ways, because I had two guys up in Canada that I did this book with. They asked me to do it, and they're like, we're not writing this book unless you're writing it. Like, we're not doing it because we can't write. We're meatheads. I love them so much. Like, I really do. And I wanted to say no, because I was not in a state of mind where I felt like I could do a nonfiction project about joy. But I knew that I needed to say yes.
Yeah.
Because that was the best thing for me. So even though I hated saying it, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I just answered fast, so I couldn't think about it anymore. And, you know, so all of these things combined just kind of helped me get a little bit of the mojo back for writing. I'm a big believer that writers, that authors, writers should do something that's nonfiction. You should do something that's fiction. You should do something outside the genre that you prefer.
Right.
You know, those different things, because all of those things help you in everything else.
Right.
You know, and not just like, oh, a multifaceted author. It's not even that. It's just about the writing styles.
Right.
You know, and how you communicate and everything. So, you know, then I was like, you know, one of the principles of Joy-Jitsu is being of service to other people. And the way we phrase it is start with fruit. You start with the fruit. So you think about a tree that has fruiting, like, you know, apples, whatever it is, right? And there's fruit. It's delicious. It's juicy. It's just hanging there. So the animals go and the animals eat the fruit, right? Then the animal runs off to a different tree, goes home, has a smoke, a beer, like whatever, and then has to have his morning constitutional somewhere and poops out the seeds. Well, eventually there's another tree with more fruit, right? And start with fruit is one of those things where it's just being in service to other people. So I was like, I want to create a platform where I can be of service to other authors. And just by helping other people, my name gets out there. Right. My work gets out there. People will be interested in all of these things. And I will build a platform not by being greedy, not by being somebody who's just out for himself, but by being who I authentically am, which is somebody that I feel almost selfish. It's how much I enjoy helping people and helping them
Right.
out. So I'm like, let me just do that. And let me just be this guy. And I don't want to be the person that's on Twitter, like we talked before, who's just begging people to buy my book for 99 cents.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I want to be the person that's a resource. I want to be the person that says, you know what, it's okay. Call me, hit me up, DM me. You want to
Yep.
know how I set up a microphone and a thing and whatever else?
Right. Yep.
Just ask. You know, if you want to be on the show, if you want me to platform you, you're on.
Yeah.
Like we're good. I want you to get that exposure. I want to be able to help you. And maybe years down the line, one of these people that I have on my show is going to be like, man, like I remember that, and I remember that guy, and he said that nobody cares about my stuff, but people will care about me as a person. And I lived my life that way. And ever since I did, I started making, you know, better connections, and I started really connecting with people, and I started really digging in and really taking the care to develop relationships. And those relationships are everything when you're talking about being an author.
Right.
Because you can't be the person that's just alone. I don't look good on camera. I sound stupid, you know,
Right.
like all that dumb stuff. And it's like, no. Like you don't. And all you have to do is be kind of interesting. You know, like
Yeah.
that's
Right.
like, just don't give one word answers and
Right.
get yourself out there a little bit,
Mhm.
but be authentic, be vulnerable, tell people about, like, look, this is the crap that I went through, you
Yeah.
know. And
Mhm.
now, like, just this is a perfect example of it. I'm
Yep.
explaining these things to you. You didn't know any of this about the caretaker.
Right. No.
That changes your view on what you're going to find in those
Oh,
pages,
heck yeah. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so that, to me, that's the gold. And the only thing I ever want, it's not even sales. I want people to read the words, love the words, and mention it to somebody else. That's
Mhm.
it. For me, I feel like everything else is going to work out as long as I'm being authentic, helping people, and that's my mission. So if anybody's listening or whatever else, that goes for all of you, whether I even know who the hell you are or not.
Yeah.
Like I'm always here.
Mhm.
You'll find me on X and all the things. You see me on the channel. Watch episodes. If you've got a work that you want to promote, or you know, you want to be on, you want to get out there and have something, like I said, that's just evergreen, because people maybe, you know, look, think about it. 5-10 years from now, we might be going to the movie theater for the opening of Sledge, right? Like,
Yeah.
just imagine how awesome that is.
Yeah.
And then somebody's going to be looking up Sledge, and they're
Yep.
going to see my interview with Nick Horvath, where
Yep.
he does the Battle of the Badasses, just like you did,
Yep.
the henchmen versus sidekicks, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And they're going to be like, oh man, like I didn't know this about him. And he plays basketball and he does this
Yep.
and so on and so forth. And this is his creative process, and like all these different things. Like, those connections span a lot of time.
Yep.
And I think it's really, really wonderful to do that and to be like that person for other people. You know, that's how you get your name. That's how you build a reputation. And I'm just trying to be myself and just be like the doofy dude. I always, like, I'm the guy who writes Space Pew Pew. I get it. I'm the Space Pew
Yeah.
Pew guy. Like, it's cool. Like, I'm totally okay with it, you know, in every way. And, you know, my hope is that someday somebody's coming to me like, man, I want to write, like, I wish I could write banter like you write, you
Right.
know, or I want to write characters like you, like, how did, like, what's your process? Like, what,
Yeah.
you know, to be able to guide somebody that's trying to do those things, and to be like, well, this is how I did it, and these
Yeah.
are the things that you can, you know, do, or whatever else. Like, just to be able to be a resource to me, that's just, it's the most rewarding thing. And it holds true. Like, I ran a karate school for 12 years, you know, and it didn't make a lot of money, for sure.
Right.
But, you know, I'm sitting here and I'm molding little minds.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had them, you know, I mentioned this on I think my last stream, where when people came into the school, it was a new student, I'd hand them the white belt, right?
Mhm.
And they were always like really terrified to get on the mats for the first time and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff, because like you're out there, you're like, oh God, like, you know, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, it's embarrassing to people, and especially adults. Adults are the worst, right? Kids were great. They were like, they're like,
Right.
wait, I can be loud and scream and punch
Right.
stuff. I'm like,
And
yes,
it's
you
supposed to
know,
do this. Yeah.
not other people, not
Yeah.
mom,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, not your hamster, not your grandma, but like,
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
but I'd hand them the white belt, and the first thing I would say to them before they got on the mats, I said, this is the only thing I'm ever going to hand you that you don't have to earn.
Mhm.
Everything from here on out, you're going to earn on your own. I'm not giving it to you. It's 100% yours, and you did it. So
Yeah.
let's put this on and let's start that journey. And you're going to feel what being rewarded for your own hard work feels like. And let me tell you, it changes people. Like it really, really changes people. So I carry all of these philosophies and all these mindsets through everything that I try to do.
That's awesome,
And
man.
waking this page up was just part of connecting back because like after a death like that with
Hmm.
your big brother, he's my role model, he was like my hero, he was everything to me, he was my best friend.
Hmm.
um After losing somebody like that, I immediately changed, a very different person,
Right.
and then and not being there for my brother gave me this determination to make sure when I knew my dad was failing that I would be there for him. And
Yeah.
sure enough, the moment he left, he was holding my hand, and the last thing he heard was me saying "Ti amo," which is "I love you" in Italian. And I said, "Dad, it's okay. We're gonna be fine. You can go."
Yeah.
And he slipped away, and that was it. And so, these things are very formative for me. They're in one way or another, they're always in my words, whether it's comedy or second rectums or whatever. Um, maybe not quite that one, but you know what I mean.
I do. I know exactly.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? Actually, that's really good. You're right
That is
along.
really good.
It takes a village to be an author. That's
Yeah.
yeah, like
That's gold right
and that's
there.
part of building this community and hanging out with you on a stream and all this kind of stuff is to just foster all of those connections.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's a deep answer, man. That's a lot.
I loved it. I
Are
loved it,
you
man.
okay? Like, are we
I am.
good?
I
Okay.
am.
All right.
No, that was good. I mean, I'm not surprised. You're a deep dude, man. And you're
I'm a
authentic,
deep
you're
dude.
genuine, and but you're also hilarious and you're just a lot of fun to talk to. I'm very glad that we've struck up this friendship and gotten to know each other,
Heck
man.
yeah, man.
I
And
appreciate you.
definitely more in the future, for sure. I would love
Heck
it.
yeah.
Anytime you want to do a co-stream or hop on or whatever else,
Yeah.
man, you are totally
Same, man.
welcome to.
Heck yeah.
I absolutely love it. And just like finding all the people that are in our circles and all that kind of stuff. Like these are everybody in the chat. Like these are just really good people.
Hmm.
I appreciate all you guys, for sure, for hanging out, hanging out, being with us on this journey and all that kind of stuff. And being mad that about Gimli. I think you're good. You got like a little bit of a target on your back now.
I do, man.
It's
I'm
pretty
gonna
scary.
next time I come on here, I'm gonna wear a shirt with barf on it though.
You know what? I thought, like, I don't do cosplaying, but if I
Yeah.
was gonna cosplay, I would want to be Darth Maul.
Oh yeah,
Right.
heck yeah.
So just like his costume, but
Yes.
like dark, and like with like some red eyes,
I
like and
like
just
it. I
like
like it.
be the evil Mog, like the evil, the evil barf, I guess. Like I don't know.
Yes.
I just with a
You might be
with a
onto
big
something.
flowy cape, like I really like I could get into
Oh,
it. I've got
I
the body to pull it off too. So
right,
like
right, yeah.
yeah,
We could
it's all
do
good.
that.
There's that.
Oh,
I don't know, man. Anybody else in the chat have anything that they're curious about? Questions either way? Anything going on and all that before we kind of wrap up? We've been at it for a couple hours here, man.
yeah.
We're
Flew
gonna have a
by.
good night. Anything? Anyone? Go ahead and throw it out. If you ever go to LibertyCon, Chris will find you.
That sounds good. Logan, find me,
uh,
man.
Dude, you'd have a blast at
You guys are awesome.
LibertyCon. Let me tell you,
Oh,
that
dude.
is, yeah. Do you do karaoke?
Oh yeah, I love karaoke.
All right, because like this is what happens. It's Saturday night. As soon as like the last panel is over,
Uh-huh.
everybody hits the karaoke room. I was there. There's this guy John from Canon Publishing. His
Hmm.
wife every year gets into a Dalek costume, and it's just like a dress, but the bottom of it looks like a Dalek, and she
Okay.
has a plunger, and she'll walk by you, and she just goes, "Eh." Like she just like she gets everybody like with the plunger. So like she walks by, and then this dude in one of those blow up T-Rex costumes,
Oh
he
gosh.
like ran by
Those
and
crack me
ran into
up.
the karaoke room. I'm like, what is like, and then so everybody's drunk in there doing karaoke like into the night, and the whole it's like it's such a bonkers great
Amazing.
time. The food is awesome in Chattanooga, like
Mhm.
because you got Waffle House,
Oh
and all
yeah.
that. Bucky's is on the way.
Yep, yep.
You got to do the nuggets, like
Gotta.
and the
Gotta.
brisket and all that. So, yeah, no, man. I really appreciate it and appreciate you coming on. It was really good just getting to know you through all this kind of stuff and yeah, like I'll be seeing you on X and all
For
that.
sure, brother.
I did, Eric. So Eric he's my right hand in the dojo, and I
Okay.
did give him a belt that was a camo belt.
Nice.
Yeah, there is that one. I did. You know what? You're right. I did give you that. You didn't earn it. You have to earn it. I'm gonna need 30 burpees from you.
Oh gosh.
No. It's terrible, terrible thing.
Oh, bad memories.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know, man. I guess we could wrap up. Is that good with you?
Yeah, sounds good to me, dude.
All
This
right.
was a blast. Thank
We
you
had
so
a
much.
fun time. I really appreciate
That was
it, man.
awesome.
I had a great time with you. Looking forward to you finishing up Space Pew Pew. Let me know
Heck yeah.
how you dig the ending and all that kind of
Yep.
stuff. I appreciate you giving my words a chance.
Oh, dude, it's awesome, man.
Yep, excellent. All right, so everybody out there, once more, subscribe to both, and follow us on all the things, and we're on X and all that kind of stuff. We'll see you all around and all that. And rising tide lifts all boats, man. If there's anything that either of us can do for any of you, just hit us up and let us know.
Yep.
Great chat. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you for being here, Jeremy. I definitely enjoy it. Lots of fun. Appreciate you, John. Thanks for stirring the pot a little bit. You need to up your game, man. You need to pump those numbers up, because Tim's stirring up a little bit more than you are these days. You're slipping a little, buddy. So we gotta we gotta get you throwing some more fire out there on all that. Pass your work shift. Yeah, that's good too. Yep, great chat, Heckling. Great chat. Appreciate you guys. That's fantastic and awesome. Hey, how about I sing us out? I do the song and a little outro here.
I like it.
And the whole thing, right? So let's go. Boom. Folks, thank you for tuning in and spending some time with us tonight. Special thanks to Chris for being a great sport and a wonderful guest. I highly encourage you to check out all of his stuff, his videos, and what he's working on and everything else. Links to everything is in the description of the video on YouTube. If you would be interested in being part of the Mirthquake community and a guest on the show, it's very easy. Just go to mirthquake.show. You get all the details in the packet. You can join the Discord, hang out with us. Hopefully soon we'll be prying open your brain and throwing it out on the internet for everyone to see. Let me ask you one last question, Chris. One last question.
All right, I'm ready.
For the author out there, a lot of authors at this point, but for the author out there that is perhaps struggling a little bit with their words, getting it down, feeling like they're not good enough, et cetera, do you have any advice that you'd like to issue to that person?
Yes. Couple things. First, keep going. Take it one day at a time. Every day is not going to be perfect, but just keep doing it. And in the long run, you'll be happy with how things work out. And two, Janny Wirtz, who a lot of people know, who is in a stream I was in with some people the other day, she said something really cool. And I mean, I've heard it before in different ways, but basically the idea is the world needs to hear your story. And if you don't write it, no one else will. So
Love it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do it. Do
Absolutely. Get the words down, man. Just get the words down, and try not to write for all the other people. Write for you.
Yes.
If there's anything that I learned, it's just that's really the way to be happy, getting the words down. And honestly, if you do that, you find your tribe.
Yeah.
So the people who, not everybody's going to dig my sense of humor, and if they don't, that's cool. They're going to leave that 2-star review and run. But the ones that do are the ones that make it all worthwhile. But also, even if they leave you a 1-star review, like they still bought it. So score,
Jokes on them. You still got money for
it. Exactly. All right. So hang out with me, Chris. I'm going to talk to you in the green room just right afterwards. But we're going to say good night. I'm going to end the stream right there, you guys. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. All the Beastie friends, loved having you over my place for a spell. That was wonderful, and hope to see you all again for sure.